Diamondvale. Shattered Memories. By Eric Hua. Chapter 12. Monkey Business. Pursuit. Dante grabbed the monkey and threw him away, but Sarman landed on his feet. Dante's scanners gave a normal status report about the monkey, but he knew his sensors weren't picking up on something. Using his rocket boost, Dante hoped to grab the monkey, but Sarman jumped and then climbed up a tree. Dante then used his extended arm mechanism to grab the monkey. Sarman waited patiently until the hand was close, then he hopped onto the arm and sprinted towards Dante. The monkey then kicked the cyborg in the face. The cyborg recalibrated his systems and transformed his arm into a cannon. He began firing at will, and Sarman was dodging them effortlessly. The monkey began making goofy faces, but when he saw Dante smiling, the monkey looked around and saw that there was nowhere left to hide. The monkey began running away, so Dante chased after him. Sarman scurried until it hit a corner in the room, then reached its arm through a hole in the wall. Dante asked one more time for their supplies, but the monkey stuck his tongue out. So the cyborg fired a concussive blast at the annoying creature. He hoped to find the monkey temporarily paralyzed, but instead he stood unharmed and holding a geode stone. Sarman cracked the geode stone. A transformation occurred, but there was no longer a little monkey. Instead, a full-grown gorilla took his place. After squatting his legs, the gorilla launched himself with a burst of speed and tackled the cyborg, slamming him against the wall. Then Sarman found a slab of rock and he flung it where the cyborg crashed. Dante responded by disintegrating the rock with his cannon. Knowing the strength of his opponent, Dante no longer saw holding back as an option. With a press of a button, his power suppressors were turned off and he was about to fight at full strength. The two fighters were giving it their all, with neither surrendering the edge. As they struggled, Dante's systems were short-circuiting and his human mind began to bring out memories. He was suddenly having flashbacks of a similar moment, only he wasn't battling a gorilla but an actual person. Every move the gorilla made was the same as the person in Dante's memory. His systems were now warning him that they were about to malfunction. He refused to listen and increased the power instead. With great fervor, the two fighters went all in for their final attack. Sarman swung his right fist, as did Dante, and they collided. Both successfully struck on their final attack and both had exhausted all their fighting energy. Dante's systems were at the point of shutting down while Sarman was reverting to his monkey form. Before either of them could hit the ground, they were both caught. Dante by Myla, and Sarman by Liam. Sarman had his eyes closed and was resting, but Dante was still conscious and had a message for Myla. He told them that they were not the enemy. Myla agreed and told Dante about what she saw when she was battling against Liam. After she slipped on the banana peel and collided with Liam, she was ready to beat up the pirate. However, when she looked behind the pirate, she saw that he was protecting some small injured animals. Momentarily, she had a vision of someone in her past who looked just like Liam taking care of rescued animals. She also realized that Sarman stole their supplies for the animals. Dante was about to tell Myla something important, but suddenly he stopped talking. Myla thought Dante had fainted from exhaustion until she looked closely at the cyborg's neck. Dante had been struck by a tranquilizer. She then looked at both Sarman and Liam and found they had been tagged on the neck as well. She rose to her feet, but a band of masked warriors wearing cloth armor surrounded her. They each had different weapons and seemed well-trained. Seeing that they had Liam, Sarman, and Dante all as their prisoner, Myla raised her hands to signal her surrender and followed the orders of the lead warrior. After a bit over a week of rest, Arnov was released from the hospital. He just had to perform one last checkup with Dr. Ashima. Without warning, she swung her hammer with full force. Arnov took the hit and was slammed against the wall. He picked himself up from the rubble. He was anticipating Dr. Ashima to attack again, but she appeared with a clipboard. She found that his heart rate and breathing were good, so she signed off the papers and asked him to leave the hospital. Exiting the hospital doors, he was ready to get back to training and his daily routines. As he was walking, he noticed a warning on the bulletin board. There were 2 wanted posters for Netanya and Ajay. He was trying to comprehend what was going on, but suddenly, he felt a hand cover his mouth as he was pulled away from the public area and disappeared without a trace. Outside the school grounds of Diamondvale and into the streets of the great city Zenith was where Ajay and Netanya had escaped. They were running through the alleys, being pursued by the enforcers. Trailing behind them, they could hear the sound of footsteps running and the bloodhounds barking. Ajay and Netanya kept running, but when they turned a corner, they were met with 3 enforcers that had cut them off. Ajay saw a large trash can near them, grabbed it and flung it at the enforcers so they could run the other way. They were about to hit another corner, but again, there was a group of enforcers waiting for them. They attempted to turn back, but another squad of enforcers appeared, leaving them trapped. The only place for them to go was the entrance to an abandoned building right before them. Once they were inside, the only place they could go was up. They ran up the stairs even though Netanya knew this was part of the enforcer's plan. She tried to come up with an idea, but while she was thinking, Ajay grabbed her arm, opened one of the doors, and threw her in. He then closed the door and smashed the lock to prevent it from opening. Ajay then made as much noise, running up the stairs to draw all the attention towards him. Netanya picked herself up and she rushed to the door in an attempt to open it, but it didn't open. She continuously tried, but her efforts were in vain. Ajay had reached the top and he took a deep breath to relieve his nerves and relax his breathing. Once he was calm, the enforcers had appeared on the roof. In total, Ajay counted 9 enforcers and 3 bloodhounds. He pulled out his 2 crystal hatchets. One of the bloodhounds attempted to pounce on him, but Ajay easily kicked the hound aside. Then 2 of the soldiers attacked Ajay. They swung the batons in unison and Ajay blocked each one with his hatchets. The 2 enforcers set out to overpower him, but Ajay tripped both his enemies. Another one of the bloodhounds charged towards him with 2 other soldiers behind. Ajay evaded the bloodhound and went straight for the 2 enforcers. Their weapons clashed and were stuck in a deadlock, but the bloodhound from earlier returned and bit his leg. Despite being bitten, Ajay mustered all the strength he had and began spinning with his hatchets out, knocking out his enemies. With 4 enforcers and 2 bloodhounds defeated, it looked as if Ajay had a chance at victory. Regrettably, one of the enforcers threw a canister right beneath Ajay's feet. Fumes were released from it which Ajay inhaled. Ajay's vision was now blurry and his reaction time was delayed. That left him vulnerable as 3 of the enforcers walked up to him with their stun batons. They alternated turns, hitting Ajay, and eventually he fainted. Seeing the former student of Diamondvale lying on the ground, the lead enforcers ordered his soldiers to restrain Ajay. As they were about to carry their new order, they heard a strange sound near their area. They looked to where the sound came from and they saw that their last bloodhound had fallen asleep. Suddenly a canister rolled between them and a large blanket of smoke surrounded the whole rooftop. The commander of the group was attempting to rally his troops, but they were being attacked in the smoke. When the smoke cleared, the commander found 2 more of his enforcers defeated with an arrow on their shoulders. He couldn't believe what was happening, so he called for his last soldier to stay close to him. That was when the leader was struck by an arrow and he began to feel dizzy. At that moment, he realized that his last soldier was the one who took out the rest of his squad. The last enforcer walked to Ajay and picked him up. He made his way down the stairs, where he would find the other fugitive. The enforcer found the weak point in the door and busted it open. It was here that he was met with Netanya, who held her wand, ready to defend herself. The enforcer slowly put Ajay down in a resting position and then took off his mask. Netanya instantly recognized her former classmate. It was Max.